This type of Yerushalmi Challah in the article Ohos edition Radap Lamed Zayin and Aleph. Rishmo Revo B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan Machlif, which is 4 lines from the bottom, and then the Vilna were on Daf Chav Beis Amud Beis, the top line. Revo B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan. No, sorry, the fourth or the fifth line down. Rishmo Revo B'Shem Yochanan Machlif. Now, today's Girsa is really fascinating. What I mean, today's Ma'achlafa. What's Mina Mukaf? What's Lo Mina Mukaf? Yes, we said that you have to, in order to be the opinion which holds, you have to do one by one. Holds that as you take each one out, you designate as Truma, so it's Mukaf with the eye and the bore. Holds to hold that you can do everything and put it on the, put all of it on the rim, and then be, to set aside to designate as truma, or the chaviyos could designate as truma. Oh, that's also in a mukaf. That's but it's not the mandama. That's not optimal because it's very separate from the board. I'm going to say the exact opposite, more or less. He who says that you put the first one on one by one on the rim of the bore. Considers that term in a mukaf. It's a term but that's a chiddush. Okay, because he says that the way the Mepharshim explain it, once you take one of them and put it on the rim, even if it's still inside the bore, and you designate that as truma, then the next, the next barrel you put up on the top, as you put it on the top of the rim, it might actually be partially chulim mitukanim. Now, it's a little bit strange to say that because obviously you want to designate this as truma as well. So it's another process. So it's hard to call chulim mitukanim, and then you're going to designate this one as truma as well. How does that work? But evidently it looks like it might be chulim mitukanim. It looks like it's problematic. And therefore, so it's a hepsik. The first barrel was... as you put it up, the top, is going to be considered separated from the rest of the wine in the bore by the virtue of there being a second barrel afterwards, and the second barrel by the third barrel. They're very difficult to understand that, but that is exactly that's what he's saying. The it's possible that there's cholim tukanim in the middle, and therefore, it's a problem. This is actually from the Gra, and it's just going to read for you. It says, when you pick up the first one, it's terminal mukaf. Parish couldn't shop in mukaf. It's considered mukaf. It's possible tevel is not next to another tevel. Since one of them became truma, niftu kama chavios. Several chavios have already become exempt. It's possible in time between one chavis which is liable to another chavis. Nevertheless, it's called mukaf can farish. There's more of Aydegin, like we're going to say in a moment, because more of Aydegin, which is of itself an issue. Okay, the Manda Amar going on, Manda Amar Malakulon al Piyabor, that you put them on top of the bore and then you designate Shumah holds. He says you take one by one. It's possible there's a hefsek in between. Again, it's only can be a mechse. It can't be actually a hefsek because then you can't make that tevel into truma because it's already chum tukanim. But it looks like it might be a hefsek. The fact that there's barrel after barrel looks like there's interruptions and therefore it's not min mukaf. So therefore, you might as well take them all up at once. There's no hefsek, and then that is considered to be min mukaf. Because no chatzitza, as opposed to where you take one by one. Each one is a chatzitza between the previous one and the next one. Okay. Then the Gemara says, this is a very difficult line. The Pnei Moshe is not really about this. That's nothing to do with this sugya. This is from a different sugya, a previous sugya where we're talking about the challah and separating bits of dough, and it's still more by the eating because there's still strips of dough which go from one side to the other side, so it's still considered to be part and parcel of the shear. This has to do with what we learned in halacha dal, daf lam and aleph. But the look at Pnei Moshe inside. But the way most of Farshim learn it, not like the name Moshe, is that it's there since there's wine dripping. Wine dripping is like getting wild, but since there's wine dripping from one chavis to the next chavis, you can't say there's interruption. The barrels in the middle don't even look like an interruption because there's wine gushing all over the place. So it's wine gushing all over the place. There's never a problem of shalom and amukaf. No chatzitzas, doesn't look like chatzitza, so therefore you turn one by one as you take it out, like we said before. Okay, new parak. Shtei noshim shosu kabin. Two women who made each one a kab, so each one is not the sheet of challah, and the nogos ebezed, they touched each other. The Yerushalmi says a case where it is no sheikh, it's biting. I feel even if they're the same min, they're pturim because they're different ownership. It's not isha achas, they're the same woman, the same woman, then min b'mino chayiv. If it's min b'mino, it's chayiv. The same grain. Shal mina potter, but it's a different species of grain. It is potter. He points out here, the Pesach Mishnah points out our Mishnah is like Basil, that Isa Kabayim is Chayiv and Challah, but that's not halacha. Halacha need 5 revoim. That's the sheet of challah. And but in any event, the point is the same. I think they're used interchangeably in the Gemara here, language of kav kabayim, as if it's chamesh revoim. I think the scholarly found that. Anyway, either whether that's true or not, but the point is true, whatever the proper shear is. What's considered to be mimino? So it's not necessarily specifically the grain, but also sister grains. So chitin joins with everything except now kusmin. Barley joins everything except with chitim. All the other minim kusmin shibol shalom shifon all mitzvah for the shear of challah. And one is going to explain all this. Stam isha achas ena makperes. He says that the one woman, if it both belong to her, she doesn't care if the does bite each other, so everything going to be starved this year. 2 women, we assume they're makbid. They don't want their does to be mitzvah. So if they're not mitzvah, isha achas she makperes. What if a woman specifically wants those to remain different? I don't know. Let's see. One she used a high gluten flour, one she used a low gluten flour, and even though they're the same min. So therefore, if she's makpedes, also so shtei noshim shtei malachas 2 women. Shtei noshim v'sheina makpidos, and vice versa. 2 women don't care if their doughs joined together. Also kisha achas, which like woman. Im ein makpedes lama oseh b'shtei makomos. So one asks a very interesting, pragmatic question. One woman, if she's not makpid, why is she making two separate doughs? Why don't you make one big batch to begin with? Or maybe we're talking about it's interesting, very pragmatic question. We're talking about she didn't have a place to the large enough mixing bowl. Mix them both together, so she mixed them separately. But now she's not makbid. If they happen to touch, they're the same mean. The words right here say so it's how inference of this pragmatic question. If she had a place large enough to mix both, for here and she nevertheless makes in 2 different places, makbedesi. That must mean she is makbed, and she actually she does not want. They remain 2 doughs. Okay, now I want to give us an example. Nucky Bekibar, and one of them is a clean flour, and the other is a coarse flour, a flour which has not as much sifted. Makbedesi, and she's makbed, and that's considered to be 2 separate. Even though it's one woman, even though it's one min, that's going to be 2 makbedes, and it's considered to be not joined together just because they were touched each other or noshech each other. Okay, this actually brings us to the top of Lam Ches Ma'af, and yes, it was a long day, so today it can be a short day.